All right, we will, sorry, we're late, call the meeting to order at 5:33, and we'll start with the pledge.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Any comments from the public? No? Safe to see somebody's students. I'm Paul. Okay, so first thing is approval of the minutes. Can I get a motion to approve the January 22nd, 2025 meeting minutes?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
No.
Right, the motion carries. Or all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Could I also get a motion to approve the joint special Board of Selectmen SIP meeting minutes of January 28th?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Before I go to correspondence, I'm going to ask for a motion to add a new line item, which would be something like vote, discussion and possible vote on modifying our schedule of depreciation for motor vehicles. Can I get a motion?
So moved. Oh, go ahead.
So moved.
Second.
All right, any discussion on that yet? Because we'll move it down under new business.
Okay. No, that's fine.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, thank you. Okay, then, under correspondence, we received an application from Robert Ulrich for the WPCA and Flood Prevention, Climate Resilience, and Erosion Control Board. And we also received an application from John Arruda for the Zoning Board of Appeals. So we'll see more on that next meeting. Under appointments, could I get a motion to reappoint Sandy Grimes to the Pawcatuck Harbor Management Commission?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
No, thank you.
No, thank you to Sandy. I think he was there for the first iteration and the second.
Yep.
All right, all those, we said all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Institutional knowledge.
Yeah,
He's
very
good.
much.
Could I get a motion to reappoint Nathan Phelps to the Flood Prevention, Climate Resilience, and Erosion Control Board, moving from an alternate to a regular member?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
He's been a fabulous addition
Oh,
to the
good.
board. He has a lot to contribute, so this is great.
That's awesome, thank you. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Just note, Julie Stavin resigned from the Stonington Housing Authority. She was a fantastic, amazing member that brought a lot of knowledge to that board. So we will, of course, thank her for her service. Okay, back to our discussion from, it was like a year ago. The creation of the zoning, possible creation of a zoning permit fee waiver policy for local nonprofits. So we discussed this draft policy at our last meeting and tabled it for further review. As a reminder for those who are listening and new, this would mirror the building permit fee waiver policy we created a few years ago for nonprofits, with the exception that this amount we kept smaller at $1,000 per 10-year time period. Did you guys get to look at this more, think about it more, any?
I did. And I don't have any questions. I think it's good.
Okay.
Yeah, this is strictly for the zoning.
Yes.
Yeah,
Just
just
to
zoning.
match the building permit.
Yes,
Except
And
at
it came
a
from-
lower rate.
lower rate, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's reasonable.
Okay, I'm sure the Mystic Fire District will be happy, or Old Mystic, whoever else we're. Do
Must be
I?
old Mystic, wasn't it?
Was I think it was
Yeah,
Old
because I was trying to
Yeah,
figure out
'cause you
what
were
they were
like,
building in Mystic.
why don't I know about that? Okay, so then could I get a motion to approve the zoning permit fee waiver policy for local nonprofit organizations?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Okay, speaking of now, new discussion, volunteer fire EMS tax abatement ordinance review. So as we previously discussed in early January, Josh Welch, who's a local volunteer firefighter, I think, and EMS, has been working on the creation of this ordinance, which if approved would implement a tax abatement program for volunteer firefighters and EMS personnel. He's, in addition to you all, he's met with a number of other stakeholders, including not all, but I think most members of the Board of Finance. And he's helped me conduct a number of meetings with the different fire associations, kind of fire groups. And so far we've received mostly really positive feedback. This version that you guys have doesn't include changes, does include changes that you may not have seen. They were really small things, but, and it was reviewed and approved by the town attorney. Before moving this any further, we just wanted to see if you guys have feedback on the ordinance, and just the kind of tentative timeline to give you a sense that we talked about with Josh was to move it forward, if you guys are in agreement, to a town meeting tentatively kind of held for May. So we do have a good bit of time, and the reason for the delay is obviously all of our fantastic budget time that we have to put forward. Yeah, so if you need more time, that's fine, it's not a big rush.
No, I just, do you have comments?
No, I met with Josh, and we talked about a lot of different things here, and I think it's great. I know we have issues. The one thing we talked about is the differences in definition of active
Yeah.
between all the departments.
Yes, and I think
There's
that was
so
one of
much
the,
different size.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I spoke to 5 chiefs today, and they were all in agreement. I suggested that there should be, since it's a town, even though it'll be really administered by individual departments as far as determining status as active, I thought that there should be a town-wide minimum, and all 5 of them agreed with me that, and we kind of tossed around some numbers, and I know we talked about it the last time we discussed it. And we kind of came up with a minimum of like 25, which is really a small number of
calls
for these individual departments.
Yeah.
You can't really do it by percentage because the
Mystic
departments,
has so many
Old
calls.
Mystic
Yeah.
has so many calls.
Yeah.
And,
And the borough doesn't get as many.
yeah, so it just wouldn't be fair. But they can individually, they can implement percentages to determine
Yeah.
their own
So did the borough
requirements.
chief
So ours
agree
would be a
with
floor rather
25?
than a ceiling. Everybody seemed to agree that 25 was,
Okay.
should be no problem. If you can't show up to 25,
Yeah.
you're really not
Yeah.
active.
Mhm.
do you mind sharing that feedback directly with Josh, since he's
Yeah,
kind
no,
of-
I did talk to
Oh,
him.
you did?
about-
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
and he was, in fact, I shared that with him very early in the process when I first spoke with him. And I think I have an email where he said that he, strongly agreed with that, or something to that effect.
Okay. Yeah, that's good, because he and I went back and forth on how to get, some departments have so fewer calls, whereas some have so many,
Yeah,
that I totally agree with the percentage, and we talked
Yeah.
about you couldn't do a percentage, but,
and then, the idea of the number, again, it's a pretty low number.
It is, yeah.
And that we can discuss that more, and if, anybody wants to discuss it with the other chiefs and the other
Mhm.
personnel, maybe it would change, but from the conversations I had, it's low enough that it really just establishes a floor
Mhm.
for us.
yeah.
Okay, no, that's really helpful. So I will then just connect with Josh. We can try and make that change in the ordinance, circulate it to all the different chiefs and contact points, but that could be a good
Yeah.
change that we can make to
And
it.
it just needs to be clear that their requirements really would be up to the individual
Yeah,
departments,
and I-
as long as they're no lower than that.
I think I think it was a change, but in there is now, like, a stipulation about them kind of giving us their official policy, in addition, not just the numbers and the names, but also like how are they defining it. So, but the minimum makes sense.
Yeah, no, I think that does make sense.
Okay,
No, I think it's a great
Yeah.
plan.
okay. Anything, and again, like we said, there's some time. I know one of the steps Josh is going to be doing is like press outreach and communications to try and also like educate the community, well ahead of time, be able to have time to talk and not rush it for once, which is really nice. But he's just been, all of them have been fantastic to work with, so I'm
And did they ever
Excited.
figure out what, I guess I don't know yet, what the actual amount, the financial amount would be? It wasn't,
David was so cute, David Professor, he corrected me at last word financing. I said it was somewhere between like around 100,000. I think he's like, it was like 118. It was, but I think it's hard for them to know, right? Because I mean,
yeah,
the number
The
could
number,
change
yep.
if they get more volunteers because of this
Yep.
or less, but he ran some numbers in that 3-page kind of report,
Yep.
and I think looked at some other towns and felt pretty confident, I think, in the percentage that they thought they'd get. So it's
But
not huge.
that takes into account the number of volunteers that qualify and own property?
Or Cars, and he didn't,
Cars,
and I don't think
yeah.
they narrowed it down that much, so I mean, that number might even be higher. But I think he.
Yeah, it could even be lower, I guess.
Exactly,
Yeah.
it could be lower.
Yeah.
And he,
Yeah.
I think the big thing though is he made, I think, a good point in that paper that even if it was 200, we're saving money by not having
Yeah,
a fully professional or municipal fire department.
Yeah, anything we can do for the volunteers.
Yeah, and the EMS part is, I think, gonna be hopefully really helpful too, because they're definitely struggling.
yeah, yeah.
And also particularly to help them to be able to live in town.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Here comes Stonington. Okay, so we'll bring this back up again as we get, move forward, but I think any help you guys can also provide, just talking with residents, being sure they know about it. I think people hear the word tax abatement, even if it's a good cause, they might have a negative reaction, so just to be sure everybody kind of understands
Absolutely.
any help sharing it. So that is great. Building permit fee waiver. So we received a request from Jess Brown of the Dennison Homestead requesting a building permit fee waiver of $2,605 associated with a barn restoration and $397 for the upgrade of the Oliver Dennison house. We noted to him and he understood that we can't waive the state fees, it's just our local ones.
Yeah, I was wondering why the discrepancy.
And so could I get a motion to approve the building permit fee waivers?
So moved.
Second?
Any discussion?
And we're presumably, I know they're under the
Yes,
cap.
yes, we've been tracking it.
Yeah.
All right, all those in favor?
Hi.
Aye, motion carries. Could I get a motion to approve the use of the town dock for the Blessing of the Sea 5K race, which I think we finally figured out, on July 24th, 2025, and then also the subsequent event on July 27th, 2025.
So moved.
I'll second for discussion more.
Okay. And just note, they did receive approval from the police commission and the borough. The waterfront commission has been provided information and they'll just need to meet with them on it.
And they're going to
Discussion.
work with the fishermen on the parking and the access.
We, I believe, did this now, thanks to Tom Williams playing Peacemaker. No, everybody kind of got together after last time, and we had a series of meetings with everyone, and I believe what Seawell very graciously agreed to do is not have their truck come pick up on that Thursday of the run.
Okay.
Which is, it is challenging for them because it's
Yeah.
the end. Leslie probably know better than I do, but I think it's the last day they pick up. So it is, tricky, but they said they could do it for this.
Okay. Yeah, that was my one thing. I just wanted to make sure all these meetings had happened because I
Thank you.
remember after last year.
Yeah, my concern is that it hasn't gone to the waterfront commission yet, and I feel that it's out of order for us to approve it before they consider it. And I think there's enough time for us to table it until it has gone to the waterfront. We can save the date. I don't think there's any question that we're going to approve an event that's happened so many times and without any changes. But I think as a matter of proper procedure, the waterfront commission should have an opportunity to weigh in first.
I think, again, this is just where we disagree. I think they're, have a responsibility when they get things the same time we do to, if they can't meet as quickly, if they afterwards say, we don't approve and we have these concerns, they can bring it to us and then we can work together. And they have a good bit of authority down over there too. So I mean, if they don't approve it, there's mechanisms to then address whatever the concerns are and move it. But I don't want to set a precedent that if the Waterfront Commission doesn't meet and address things in a timely manner, that we're going to hold up events.
Well, I don't think it's been sent to them, from my understanding.
It has
hasn't
been. It has been sent to them.
That's my
The
understanding.
minute Stacy gets things, she immediately sends it to them if it has waterfront.
But have they had a meeting since? Because they have a meeting tonight. They
Okay.
meet tonight.
So then they probably will, but I'm just concerned about setting a precedent. We've never waited for the other commissions, even the police commission will approve something and it's, contingent on the police commission or the waterfront commission, but we don't hold up our stuff just for.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I just disagree. I think we should. I know the police commission has changed their policy since Chief Douglas has taken over and doesn't approve events that take place in the park, for instance, until a park commission has approved the application. So,
Very nice of them.
yeah, it is nice. But I just think that if the Waterfront Commission is charged with these responsibilities to oversee and review these events, that we should honor that, so.
And I think we do. I think if they ever came back and said we have concerns or we don't do that, then we would address them right away. But to hold up, because then sometimes the timing could be, like this timing, again, might be completely fine, but then the next time it might be, then we have to have a special meeting or we have to change everything about what we do because the way the meeting's scheduled. So I think, again, like, then we're not
Well,
singling out.
every 2 weeks, I mean, we meet every 2 weeks, they meet every month.
I mean, this looks like it was dated the 15th of January, in which case, if
Waiting.
they got it
Yeah.
then, you know, it's been over
Well,
a
I
month.
noticed that it was on the agenda tonight for the waterfront commission.
And I think we don't, then we'd have to be waiting for, I think, all these other boards. Like, we don't wait for the police right now. If we did it for waterfront, we'd need to wait for police. And so I just think we have a procedure that has worked well. I can appreciate, like, trying to be considerate of the boards, but I think we do that in practice.
Yeah, and I think if they have an issue, they can come back to us and, you know, we certainly should respect it if they have an issue, but yeah, I agree, we just can't wait on all of these, because some boards take a lot longer than others. And we can approve it contingent on their approval.
Yeah, which is really what always happens. But no, I mean, I think, and I'm sure the Waterfront Commission appreciates you kind of advocating for waiting for them, but I would be concerned about doing that because then the implications it could have on all of our other approvals, waiting for other people. Anything else anyone wants to say?
No, I think we could just say we approve it contingent on their approval, you know, if that makes sense to, yeah.
And then you can obviously disagree, that's
Yeah.
fine. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed?
Abstain.
All right. Did you get that, Leslie? Yep. Thank you. All right, motion carries. And as for the students who don't know about does everybody know about the blessing of the fleet? Yeah? It's
My
really,
dad's a commercial fisherman.
really? Which boat?
The Mackenzie Page.
Oh, yeah, that's wonderful. Yeah, so hopefully you guys all come this summer, do the run, walk, and participate in the kind of weekend of activities, but it's wonderful down there. We actually have a good update after this about that. All right, and then, so now I'm gonna add in, where we add in, I'm gonna call Jennifer.
We can do that.
Yeah. So, just so people know, this is just like real time. So as let me just get Jennifer. Hey Jennifer, I'm gonna put you on speakerphone, okay? All right, you're live. So Jennifer is our tax assessor. So Jennifer, I gave a very high level overview, but do you wanna just give for the board, and we do have some guests, a quick overview of what happened yesterday, where we are, and then we can hopefully vote on it.
Do you want me to give any background on?
Sure, go for it.
Sure. Okay, so when Governor Lamont was first elected, he wanted to find regional efficiencies in the government. And one of the ways that OPM felt that there could be efficiencies was to take a look at the motor vehicle tax and see if there was a way that we could make it more fair and equitable. The motor vehicle tax has long been considered the most regressive tax. You have communities like Stonington or Greenwich that have low mill rates, and someone could be paying $100, whereas the same car in the city of Hartford would probably be paying $1,000. So a task force was put together, and they worked on it for about 5 years. And then when they were finished, they handed that proposal over to the governor and OPM. And in that proposal, the idea was to change from assessing motor vehicles from 70% of their average retail value to taking their manufacturer's suggested retail price and a flat line depreciation schedule. And the reason that it was thought that this would be more fair is, as we all know, during COVID, when the production chains were held up, used cars became exceedingly valuable and a lot of their retail values skyrocketed. So this type of system ensures that that will never happen. Those types of fluctuations in supply and demand won't affect motor vehicle taxation. The original depreciation schedule that went along with this was meant to start in year one at 90%, and then it would be a 5% for every year down, and it would bottom out at a 20% residual. When the bill came forward in the legislature, the Senate was concerned that 90% in year one was too high. So they decided to change the depreciation schedule to 85% in year one, but also to bottom out at 15% as opposed to 20%. That's what inevitably got passed last year through the special session. This year, once towns began filing their grand lists, most towns saw between a 12 to 14% reduction in their motor vehicle list. There were some towns that were as high as 19%, some as low as 8%. Coupled with some of the other exemptions that they had passed that were not reimbursed by the state, many municipalities this year have seen a significant decrease in their overall grand list, not just their motor vehicle list. As a result of that, I think enough town leaders approached their representatives and senators and explained to them that they were facing mill rate increases. So that leads us to the beginning of this week. They decided to pass an emergency certification, which is pretty uncommon, and it bypasses the usual process of legislation with, public hearings and all of that. And part of the emergency certification was a local option that allows municipalities to adopt a different depreciation schedule than what was passed last year. The alternative depreciation schedule is what was originally proposed. So it goes back to the 90% in year one, it drops 5% every single year, and it bottoms out at 20%. Again, that was in line with the original proposal. So I ran numbers this morning to see how that would affect the town of Stonington's motor vehicle grand list. Our grand list dropped at 12%, which was in line with what the projections were with the modified depreciation schedule that the Senate had wanted. When I rerun all of our vehicles against this local option depreciation schedule, we're able to restore $19 million in value to our motor vehicle grand list, which means that we would only be dropping about between 5 to 6 million, and it would be, as opposed to a 12% drop, we would now only be going down in our motor vehicle grand list 2.6%. And how that would affect the overall grand list would be that we would go from a 0.68% increase to a 3.2% increase, which is substantial.
Jennifer, thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks.
Ben or Debbie, do you have questions for Jennifer?
No, thank you, Jennifer. That was a great explanation.
Yeah.
And thank you for dialing in. And like I've said before, just thank you so much for keeping on top of so much stuff that's happening at the state in addition to everything else that you're doing.
I'm happy to help, anything that I can do.
Well, thank you. If we don't have any other questions for Jennifer, do we let her go or?
Sure.
Yeah.
All right,
I think so.
all right, Jennifer,
Great,
so
thanks
I'll
so
let you know the outcome of the vote and we can talk tomorrow.
Okay, sounds
Thanks.
good. Everyone have a wonderful evening.
You
too.
Thanks,
All
Jennifer.
right, bye.
She's so good. All right, so I think the official thing that we need to do is we want to adopt the modified schedule of depreciation in 12-63 subdivision 2 subsection B with respect to motor vehicles as allowed for in House Bill 7067 passed by the emergency certification on February 25th, 2025. And Leslie, I can write that up if you just leave it open. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Do you guys want to discuss this?
So what happens if he vetoes it? Does it come back to us?
No, if he vetoes it, then it just stays the way it
Stays.
is.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, hopefully he won't, if you're watching our local TV station. But yeah, no, good question.
certainly help our budget process.
It would help, like every dollar helps.
Yeah.
We're in the middle of our budget process, which is amazing. If you guys need any extra hours or know of any other people who do, it really is fascinating to watch. Like we have it tonight at 7 is human services and all the nonprofits go, and then tomorrow night is the police, and Monday is the school. And then the deliberations are probably the most interesting, which you can check on the town website, but they're usually over 2 days, the first week of March. Yeah. But it's really interesting, but you see how like our community spends money very wisely. Some might say a little too wisely, but like they agonize over every single dollar. So that's why this really helps, because this could be the difference between, you know, investing in, you know, fixing the basketball court or not, or, you know, some other projects that are probably on the chopping block. All right, so if that's it, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, yay, all right, we might be the first town to pass this. But a lot of towns were excited, like I don't know if you saw in the paper, Preston, their motor vehicle thing was really impacting their grand list, and so I sent it to her this morning, I think I think a lot of them are gonna adopt it, as long as it doesn't get vetoed. Okay, so I think oh wait, no, yes, sorry. And then comments. Do you guys have comments?
I just have just a couple things.
Yeah.
One is a question. So I've been attending all the flood and erosion and climate and sediment, whatever, the FERC. It needs a better acronym, but all of their meetings, and they've been working on a number of different things. And one thing they did approve was their annual report.
Okay,
And they were supposed to send it to you.
okay.
Did you not see it? Because I think we have to
Approve it? Okay,
So-
I'll double check.
double check with Stacy because,
Definitely, yeah.
yeah.
So the next, I'm gonna make a note of myself for that too. All right, so we should then read it.
Yes,
And then potentially
yes.
approve it. Okay.
So Eric Garofalo, I pronounced his name wrong, he's an attorney. He and Catherine
Yeah.
Burchinal actually worked really hard to put it together.
That's awesome.
And it's kind of the first one, so it's like,
I saw an email from her today. I don't know if that, I didn't look at it.
it could have been,
Something else.
it might have been
Okay.
minutes.
Okay.
Because,
Oh,
you
that's
know, so that's one thing. And they've been working on ideas for the stormwater utility, and next meeting, hopefully next meeting, maybe the one after that because of budget stuff, they're going to have a representative from New London
Okay,
that does their stormwater utility come in and talk about kind of how they set it up and how they run it.
no, so New Britain just did one. And we have a call, we're playing phone tag, but hopefully gonna have a call with him, and then if he's willing, maybe would come like
Yeah.
Zoom in, or if not, at least talk to Chris Houlihan.
That'd be great, that'd be great. And I know they're, you and Chris have been in touch with the Green Bank about,
Yeah,
no, not
Yeah.
good, no.
yeah,
And hoping maybe to get at least the educational
Yeah.
aspect.
getting done.
Yeah, getting done. So it's good. They're, starting to get some
I'm
good
trying to
things done.
convince Dan from WPC that he should take over and be our stormwater utility director. Keep it all in-house.
In addition to WPC.
Yeah, like you could just throw that in there, it's fine, it's
throw
just
it-
billing.
another thing, Yeah. So, and I did a Zoom call with UConn and Emily from the COG about the brownfield inventory.
Okay, thank you.
And,
Do you guys all know what brownfields are? No, do you want to tell them what they
I'll tell
are?
you what it is. So a brownfield is, the kind of the classic one is like an old factory. Like you see them, on Mechanic Street, the thread mill, old factories that some of them are just sitting there abandoned. But the state of Connecticut and actually nationally, there's kind of a push to reuse them. So instead of just tearing them down, to perhaps turn them into retail space or housing or something. So we got, it's not really even a grant, we were just selected to have UConn, they've got a couple different groups, to help us as a town kind of develop a potential brownfield inventory, properties that we can look at, and then we can go after grants. And we've already gone after and, received several brownfield grants. So this will help us kind of as we kind of prioritize and look and see what the properties are. One thing they're looking for, and, I meant to reach out to Stacy, they're still trying to get a list of just delinquent taxes.
Oh, okay.
I thought we sent it to them, but they don't have it.
Okay.
So, and it should be public information.
Yeah.
So
You could also send it right to Cindy
Okay.
Curioso.
I'll just reach out to
Okay,
Cindy.
yeah.
'Cause, that was the one thing they're asking
That's
for.
right. Okay.
Because they're really moving along, and the next step will be maybe to come down and do some site visits. Not necessarily visiting the property,
Yeah.
but kind of driving by and
And
getting a
noticing
handle
it,
on
yeah.
the area. So-
Okay.
So it's kind of cool, so that's moving along. And certainly, I'm sure you're going to talk about it this week, the Fuss and O'Neill and Circa
Yes.
flood study.
If you want to.
I mean, you can talk about it. I met with them Monday morning, well, as you know, because I wasn't able to do the sidewalk. And it was pretty helpful, and I also talked again to Circa because I'm still kind of committed to trying to work on a regional group to kind of go after some of the larger coastal and resiliency grants, not just as one town, so,
Okay.
but
It'd be good.
Circus will definitely help. It's just, I said, it's too busy right now. It's
Yeah.
like, give me a few months.
Okay, that's great.
And that's probably all for now.
Sure.
I
Okay.
think so, yep.
And
No, I'll defer to you. I had a good walk with Circa.
did you? Okay, I didn't get to do the walk, so it was good?
Yeah, it was good.
Okay. Any other updates? I have like too many. I'll try and, this is like a crazy time of year. But so as you guys know, and just for students, like we said, we're, full swing of the budget with meetings most nights for a while. But it's going well. It's like all the presentations. Obviously still have a lot of cuts to make, but going well. The bond conversation last night with the Board of Finance, I think went really well.
Yeah,
We
I had to
have.
leave before that
I know,
started,
sorry,
so-
yeah. I know, it was like 10:45 at night. But they went really well, and so what we said was Thursday, we'd have a follow-up with them to give them some time to really look at the bond resolution language, give feedback. I had bond counsel make it like a bit more specific. I think certain members wanted it more open-ended, kind of like the WPCA bond, so we're trying to find, I think, the right balance. I gave them an overview of the projects that could go into it. They're gonna look through it and give some feedback. It could be anywhere basically from like, depending what goes in or not in it, anywhere from an $8 million to $12 million bond. We do have the bond capacity. And then we're just, factoring in what would come out of this year's SIP, what obviously is more future, but it's going well, and it's also, so you guys know, so we're looking at possibly doing like an infrastructure bond for the town, so it's largely bridges, drainage, and then a few other kind of facility projects. Actually, the high school roof might be part of it, so that's like almost a $4 million fix, which we have half the money for, but, and then hope potentially that one last segment on South Broad Street that doesn't have the sidewalk connection, that could potentially be part of it, although we did put in for a grant for that last week. So if we get that, then that would be great. So yeah, so the bond conversation is ongoing. If you haven't seen anything and want to see it, just shoot Jim Sullivan an email and he can send it out to you, but I think you guys are on those emails.
Yeah.
Sorry, I wrote them down here. Then there's just so much going on. So yeah, we put in for a steep grant for the state for the sidewalk gap. We are just about to enter into a contract for the engineering work, which they did a great job. The first proposal we got from an engineering firm was maybe 3 times higher than the one we ended up finally getting. So Chris and Tom and Jeff did a great job kind of figuring that out.
Excuse me, is that 450,000? Is that realistic for that?
Jeff our Director of Public Works, did like a whole Excel spreadsheet, kind of trying to value engineer essentially the whole thing. It's hard to tell because the retaining wall on that one property.
I know, there's a lot going on there. It just
But
seems like a lot.
it's only 5 properties and it's a pretty small area. It's mostly that retaining wall and redoing the person's driveway. But he thought that was a realistic number, so we'll see when the engineering comes back.
Well, it doesn't usually come back lower,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
So we'll see, but that could be really promising. We also have really exciting news that we applied for this, I think, like 2 years ago, but the housing loan program was selected. And
That's
so,
great.
I'll give you guys a really quick update. So when we had ARPA money coming in, like the COVID money, we allocated a lot of it to like infrastructure, things that we had kind of put off when we tried to like flat fund the budget for a couple of years. But one of the things we did get was $150,000 to create this housing loan program for anyone who lives in town who's income restricted and needed up to $30,000 worth of work. So we've done 3 homes in Stonington. They just happen to all be seniors. They don't necessarily have to be, but ranging from someone who's gonna have to leave their home because their points of egress were failing, to someone who no longer had a working heat, and to someone else who had a leaking roof. So they're capped at $30,000. It's a loan, so when they sell the house or it changes hands, the money comes back to the town. But the whole goal with it was kind of to do it as a pilot phase, then hopefully get funding elsewhere. And we were one of 8 towns selected for this state money. So we're excited. It was 400,000. So that'll go a long way, hopefully helping a lot of people stay in their homes and have quality homes. The program's hard, it's complicated to run, but the Human Services team is doing a wonderful job with it. Also, let's see, on positive news, the town, North Pier Town Dock, DACO went and presented to SNEPLA on Monday. We have the final bid documents. I think they're pretty much ready to go out, and the work should start. I think they'd asked us to wait until end of March or early April because of the wind. So, but we look like we're on track with that. And again, that's all federal money that we've gotten, so that's really exciting. And then we're also working with DACO. We met with a few of the fishermen for one of their board meetings, Leslie, thank you. And they gave us some really helpful feedback on like different things we could be doing to better support them. And it ranged from looking at Martha's Vineyard. They have this preservation, do you know what it's called?
Fund.
Preservation, yeah, fund, that we're gonna look more into. I think Erin was gonna help look more into it and figure out like, is there a way we could start that here? And it helps with like a ton of different aspects. And then whatever, we've touched on a lot of things, but the other thing that came out was that the South Pier, there was plans, I think, dating back to like the early 90s. And then iterations, but whatever, of being able to extend the dock a little bit and then turn it. So one, they could get more boats to tie up, but it also will help with the wave action and help protect inside, and then also the new investment of the North Pier, and potentially also the wastewater plant to some extent, but really it's for the dock. So DACO very kindly agreed to kind of pro bono kind of revisit the plans they had done, redraw them up, get us a cost estimate and see, so we can, there's another federal grant that as of now is still open to try and go after that has zero match.
Would that include the repairs to that?
So-
Because that needs considerable repair.
So that original design from Stantec, which was what was kind of holding us up, was like $6 million worth of repairs.
Yeah.
I think as they've gotten in there, they feel like they can make do with some localized repairs, things that have been repaired or holding up well. And this, because I asked the same thing, I was like, what was this bad? It's a standalone, even though it'll touch up against it. So they can do that, and then we can still try and find at this point, probably like $9 million for that, but this at least would be standalone, so it wouldn't touch that. So that's earlier.
So they can do one without the other.
Without the other, exactly, which I honestly didn't think they could do, so I was excited to see that. So that was really promising. I think hopefully we can do more with them. The thread mill, we're getting closer. The thread mill is another brownfield site at where like Mechanic Stream River Road meet. Has so much potential. It's such a beautiful old 1898-9 building.
Yeah.
But it's very complicated. We basically took on like a $4 million project that we're now project managing. If you see Jim or Molly, just thank them. But we got the FAP back from the state. They're doing everything that we've been asking them to do so far. So I think it's moving along well. They're gonna apply through us for emergency approval to do some of the roof work.
Oh, okay.
So we said, we'll help them facilitate that, but there's, they might not, GECD might not approve it. Then last thing, through another grant we've gotten, Circa has been working with Fuss and O'Neill. Is that who it is? Yeah. On kind of resiliency for downtown Mystic. So looking at everything from kind of increased heat to increased rain events and flooding and everything.
And it's all coastal, the heat and coastal stuff, it's not dealing with, as
Upland.
much with the upland
Yeah.
kind of events, but yeah.
And so they've had basically like a week worth of events. Tonight, I think, is the cap off. We obviously
Yeah.
couldn't be there because of this meeting.
From 5 to 7.
But they're presenting to the community, and then they'll continue. They've been having these like stakeholder group meetings. They'll keep having those meetings. So if either of you ever want to attend them, Clifton attends.
I've attended a couple online, Zoom
Okay, yeah,
ones,
there's Zoom ones, yeah. So they'll keep doing that, so it's not like tonight's the end of it, but I think we had like really good public participation.
I think so.
And I think
That was
some
a good
really,
turnout.
yeah, practical ideas of different things we could do and kind of that's not hopeless, like we can find a way to live with the water and
Yeah.
steps that we can take that won't cost, $10 million to address.
Oh, no, they will.
Or they might. yeah.
And, but they were, yeah, they did a great job. And a bunch of town department heads met with them. Captain Schneider and Chief Clarkin met to talk about public safety. So it was, I think, we'll see what the outcome is and we'll
They're going to
post
put
it.
information online, so we
Yeah.
should be able to link to it, so
Yeah,
people should be
yeah.
able to find
You guys
it.
are dying to find out more. We'll post stuff on the town website and you can look at it. I will also put in a plug. We have a town app that we just started. And if you or any of your families are interested, I would suggest you download it. We try not to overuse it, but it is helpful for like learning about events or just things happening in town. And then also, obviously, we have the website.
I'll put in a plug for that, and for people that want to get on commissions, I did that Women in Leadership panel
Oh, nice.
last week, and
You
yeah.
plugged it?
Yeah,
Thank
so
you.
anyone who wants to volunteer and get on a commission, we
Yeah.
definitely have openings.
The last thing I'll say is Dan, our WPCA director, came down today really excited that we've been talking for probably like, 6-9 months with the school. Some of your teachers at the high school and admin people about trying to start a curriculum on the wastewater, like our sewer system, but it's also in other towns, it's also the water system, Veolia.
Veolia.
So they're a global company, they're headquartered in Paris. They run our sewer plant, they run water and sewer in New London for New London, Waterford, East Lyme. But they're a great company and they started this pilot program with Seymour High School. So then I reached out to them and then we connected them and one of your teachers, I think HAE,
Massive.
yes, thank you, yeah, really has just like run with it and has been awesome. So we're really close, hopefully, to finalizing curriculum that will, I think, be offered next spring with the idea that your senior year, you could actually do an internship. And these are pretty awesome jobs. I mean, they're definitely environmentally friendly. They're awesome kind of things, but they also you have different tiers you can work up, but pretty quickly you can be making 6 figures. So they're kind of awesome jobs and they have plants all over the place. So we're excited. It was awesome that the school was so open to doing this. So we'd be the
That's great.
second school in Connecticut to do this. So that was really good news.
Yeah, and we have interns, ex-interns working in our.
Yes, we
here.
do, yeah.
Yep.
Yes, so that's exciting. And then, I don't know, I'll stop, I've
Did
just
the
been rambling.
boathouse RFP go to DECD, do you know?
No, we're not ready. So we did have a boathouse meeting for the Mystic River Boathouse Park on Monday. The new person we brought on instead of the larger firm is so far working really well, but it's taking now more time. So instead of doing 3 bid packages, we're gonna do 5 bid packages, which is obviously complicating things, but should make the cost a good bit lower.
Okay.
And he's okay project managing the 5, so that was good. And he's been working with Kent Frost and then with Molly and Jim to go through and redo all the bid packages. So we have 3 of them done, so 2 more to go. We think by end of next week they'll be done. And then we'll send them to DCD. Hopefully they'll do them within 2 weeks. And then as soon as they're done, we'll be ready to put them out to bid. We'll give it 3 to 4 weeks. So really, we're looking probably more like end of April, knowing
So that's
if we have,
3 to 4 weeks, that's long enough.
yeah, I know, I was surprised, but yeah, that's
If they're smaller bid
practice.
packages?
Yeah.
Yeah, if it's not as
It's not the whole,
massive
it's
of
not
a,
the
yeah.
whole
the
thing.
whole thing, yeah. And they've been months now, probably talking to different contractors, trying to
So they
let
all
them know it's
they know
coming.
the scope.
People know it's coming.
So by end of April, we might know how much the boathouse will truly cost and if we have enough money to do it. And hopefully we do, and then right away work could start.
That'd be great. I
Should
did
be
reach out to
amazing.
the LEP and said, we haven't forgotten you, we're
Okay.
just, you know,
Yeah,
so we are.
thanks for John, thank you,
Yeah.
yeah. Anything else I forgot to update you guys on? I'm sorry, there's so much on mine. Oh, also just, we are submitting, oh, this is a good one. We are submitting a lot of testimony as best we can. It's hard to keep up with it. So again, if you guys ever go on and look at like bill trackers, and obviously as individuals, you could submit them, or, but if there's things you feel like as a town we should be involved with, let me know. But I'm really excited, the 1% sales tax idea coming back to municipalities, we
Oh, yeah,
really
great.
got it gaining traction. So there was a public hearing today, and through different conversation we've been having, we've been able to get the Restaurant Association on board with it. So they were really active with the 1% being added in 2019 with the idea it would kind of get reinvested, and that didn't happen. It just went to the general fund for the state. So when we connected with them, they were really into it. So they've like spearheaded this amazing effort and gotten a lot more attention to it than I ever could have. But so the bill that they have in is of the 1%, 50% coming back to municipalities, 30% going to Connecticut tourism, and 20% going to workforce development. So it seems like
Is this a
nice
statewide
bump.
1%?
It's a 1% on meals and beverages and catering.
Statewide?
Yes, but so.
That would be a new one?
Nope, it'd be the one that's there.
Oh, okay.
The 1% that they added in 2019 that was supposed to be coming back to
I
us.
see. So it's just a redrafting it.
Yeah, and it would come back to the communities in which it was generated, so,
So it's not looking at hotels, it's the meals.
yep, but it's still a start.
But it's a start.
Yeah, and, it could be any, like I said, any money's helpful.
Yeah,
But we tried to just make the case, again, that we love our tourists, but they impact our sewer, they impact our police, public safety, our roads, and we don't get a dollar back from the state. So hopefully it gets some traction, but it's really good. But so if it gets out of committee, I'll let you guys know, because it'd be helpful to get more testimony. But we did get costs, CCM, and the COG to all testify, and a few other first selectmen. Even North Stonington, they joined and testified with us, so it was very nice. It was a team effort. With that, all right, I'll stop there. Anything else? No? All right, good?
Yeah, good, thank
All
you.
right. 6:20, meeting adjourned.